Not all of
hang
them,
on,
but
hang
most
on, hang on,
women
hang on,
will
hang
be
on.
happier.
I'm not,
Motherhood
I
first.
can't turn
Motherhood
up to
first.
your, I can't turn up to your lecture. I'm a mother with a successful career.
I'm very happy for you. That's wonderful. I think you
Right.
made a great choice. I think motherhood is awesome, and you should have as many babies as you want,
Yeah.
and not get bullied by feminists for it.
No, but I am
Which
a feminist.
many of them do now.
I didn't,
There are women
wasn't, I
sticking up
wasn't
for me
bullied by
online.
anybody. I had as many children as I wanted, and I've got a career, so I'm not sure what you're...
You might be
telling me that was
confused.
wrong?
I think feminism, as Piers has been discussing here or hinting at, I think feminism has collapsed into rampant sexist, man-hating bigotry and female supremacism.
I don't hate
That's
any
what these
men.
hashtags mean. Toxic masculinity, the future is female. I'm not female. Where's my future?
Okay, let's bring in Janice Fiamengo.
Well, your
Janice Fiamengo,
future is mansplaining to women,
Janice
apparently.
Fiamengo, you are an anti-feminist
Women
Canadian
love
professor.
mansplaining.
There is
Although I'm relatively new to MGT0W, I've been following the MGT0W lifestyle for some time. My name is Chris. I am baffled by our adversaries, particularly the militant women's movements, who ought to be supportive. I'm referring to the "a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle" metaphor, which means that women should behave in their way. Naturally, a lot of those people only have physical attraction to women. Why they would be critical of the MGT0W movement is beyond me, which is, in essence, what they have been requesting for decades. How do you feel about this? Women's movements and women as a whole tell society what they want from men. But when we give it to them exactly how they want it, they frequently become enraged. You probably have noticed that when a man asks a woman for something very specific, she gives it to him, which doesn't make any sense to you. This does not imply that he desired something else. Women's movements don't mean equality when they say they want it. They want a man who will listen to them and challenge them. They are looking for a social conflict between men and women that will entertain them. The end goal is that. That's not exactly what a woman wants when she wants a creepy man to leave her alone, and the only attractive guy to contact her in life. She can put the betas on the friend because she still wants them to talk to her and make financial, emotional, or other use of them. Theoretically, women's movements that call for equality between men and women ought to be thrilled when men follow their lead. Last but not least, just as women generally ignore men, a lot of men treat women equally and ignore them. Sadly, though, they prioritize outcomes over responsibility. Getting men to work harder and provide for women than they normally would is the only way to get a good result. While giving women a larger and larger share of the wealth, men are required to shoulder a greater burden of responsibility. Women who work for equality are now caught between a rock and a hard place if they tell men, "Sorry, we don't want you to go because we need you to do more than your fair share and hand over more than half of the riches." Because some men have realized this and are walking away from the situation. Men will see that they are being used, or even more so by society. Women, on the other hand, aren't happy if men say they're for equality and treat them equally. And if more men follow suit, women's movements and other MGT0W opponents are not supportive because, if they were, men who went their way would gain social validation from women, thereby increasing our numbers. As a result, women would have fewer parasites willing to take what they need. I believe that a woman is bluffing and putting on their best poker face when she says that she needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Men will believe that women have the advantage because of the hand that nature has dealt them. The majority of women attempt to win a man's heart by bluffing their way there. She will shame him for it and make him feel bad for calling her bluff if the man calls out her poor hand. They will frequently be kicked to the curb if he insists on calling the woman's bluff, regardless of the shame. In relationships, it works like that. However, in our society as a whole, women are bluffing and claiming that they do not require men outside of relationships. And are you aware of what men do? They are acting independently and calling women's bluff. As a result, women are calling MGT0W women haters and shaming us when, in reality, our only concern is our survival. Because we are their meal ticket if civilization crumbles and they lose everything. Women will never support us in going our own way. However, they are unable to acknowledge this because if they did, we would see them for who they are. Children posing as adults should remember that just because you put on pants does not make you a man. You weren't even allowed to wear pants yet for a long time. The fact that women are permitted to enter the workforce and generate sufficient wealth to support themselves is the only reason there are lesbians living together and working. Chris, you're wrong to say that there aren't any women working in their fields because most of these women don't own homes or run businesses or government agencies. When all of the work has been done for them and the assets are in their hands, women only behave in their way. Because the work and assets remain in the hands of men, they dislike me. Because it prevents them from having access to the resources, they are critical of the MGT0W movement. However, once more, they are unable to say that because doing so would reveal their hand. Also, do the same thing there. Men generally avoid women, choose not to play, and follow their path. Instead, we decide to remain in liberal cities, accumulate wealth, and make women detest us because they see what they cannot have and are pretty much enraged about it. That further offended them. I guess what I'm trying to say is that women's movements want what men have, and they can't get their claws on our resources if men aren't willing to give it to them by marrying someone who doesn't care.